that this is really going to be, it's hard to tell. I think for Boersma, you know, that's the real question, is what happens if Boersma were to pull this out. If Boersma were to pull it out and Peachy were to come home in second, it just still doesn't do it. But if Peachy were to be third, then they would tie with advantage Peachy. So for Boersma, it's a kind of a long shot for third place in the title, but it could be possible. And there's Justin. I don't know. Again, Justin is really in tune with this car, but something tells me these conditions aren't going to be optimal for this car by any stretch.
It's going to be tough, isn't it?
And how well that aero is optimized, you know, every little bit's going to matter.
Yep, the aero will help a lot. Aero cars in the wet do have a surprisingly good amount of grip. Nothing like they have in the dry, but they do are less affected by the rain.
Yeah, I wonder also the power application for Boersma's car with, you know, power happening much higher in the rev range, if it'll make it a little easier to get traction leaving a corner as well.
It could, not having that big surge of power, but I think all of these drivers are in tune with how the power is delivered in their cars, and they'll all be well aware of how much they can push. Wouldn't surprise me at all if they didn't have traction control on these cars as well, a motorsport style traction control that will help them not do something silly in the wet.
Andrew Brownfield is the first one to get to the start-finish line and begin his flying laps here. 3 laps on the board and down into turn 3. I think the number 2 seed here should be Chris Boersma. I hear him coming across the stripe. There he goes. And Chris Smith in this 212 BMW 1 Series. This car's got a lot of aero as well. Shorter wheelbase, though, than... actually, I guess these are all sort of short wheelbase cars, aren't they?
Yeah.
Except for the Corvette.
Supra, not too much the Supra.
Yeah. And the Corvette, Justin Peachy throttling up. This is, I honestly don't really know what the outcome of this one's going to be. I don't really feel very strongly about the ordering of this one.
Right.
I think the other sessions, you know, they all kind of landed logically for the most part, but this one I'm not sure I could predict exactly what's going to happen. Peachy across the stripe there in his car that's rocking a different engine than the start of the season. Here's Chris Boersma all the way out of Ontario, Canada, with the K-Tune Civic that has been with him for many years. Drove his wife to prom in it decades ago. Was originally a drag racing car that he's converted for road course time attack, and it's seen a bunch of different configurations over the years. And he's chasing not only a podium, but potentially a trophy here with the front drive. He's the only car in this sprint that is running front-wheel drive.
Yeah, a fascinating story, hearing, you know, both him and James Houghton from Canada as well, from Toronto area as well. He famously had that Integra that he's been using for years and years as a time attack car, and he'd owned that for a long time before it became a time attack car as well. So really interesting that both of their stories are somewhat similar in that they are long-time owned cars. Certainly long time they've been competing with the same cars, which is pretty exciting.
So Andrew Brownfield puts down a 2-minute .747. That's the benchmark to chase. And Chris Boersma ripping through turn 16, looking pretty planted right now on the brakes into 17. Got to just make sure you don't lock anything up. Chris Smith in trail as well. Rooster Tail's definitely coming off these cars now. And we're still on time, by the way. This track has slowed down so little that we're not even behind in the schedule. Typically, rain really slows Podium Sprint down, but it has not yet. Here comes Boersma across the stripe, and it's going to be 2:05.672. I think he'll gain some confidence, maybe be a little quicker next time around. Chris Smith is going to go to the top of the board, 2 minutes .054.
Wow. Yeah, I think, you know, for keeping us on time, it's really helped that all of these drivers have kept it under control, kept it on the track as well, not had to go fishing cars out of the mud. Really helps, and not dragging mud onto the track has really helped keep us on time.
Yeah, so Chris Smith, if he were to pull out this win, that gives him a shot for the podium as well. It all depends on what Justin Peachy can do in his Chevrolet Corvette. Across the stripe for Peachy, and it's going to be a 2:07.228. So if Peachy were to earn 16 points and Smith were to finish as is, Smith would beat Peachy for third place in the championship by 5 points. Now, if Chris Smith were to get knocked off that, he would still win it by 1 point. So Smith has to finish third or worse with Peachy not improving for this to stay with Smith's advantage here. So we'll see what happens next time around, but I feel pretty good if Smith attacked lap 1 that aggressively. Maybe Brownfield might pip him back, but even a second would still get him P3.
Yes.
assuming that Peachy stays P4 too.
Yeah, and what does it matter what Chris Boersma does? As long as he beats Chris Boersma, he's going to finish ahead of him, isn't he?
I believe so, yeah, because he's already ahead of him in the standings. So across the stripe for Brownfield, he goes back to the top. That's a huge pickup too. 157.505 for Brownfield, last lap here for the Supra. And that could be the wild card for this battle. He's not really in the points fight at all. It's going to make it a little bit interesting. And off into turn 17, Boersma right to the edge of the road. That made me nervous for a second. Grass is lava when it's wet, this wet. We see Chris Smith hunting for the middle. You can see the racetrack kind of dry in the center. He saw that too, looking for the dry line, which is starting to become more important. You see the tires spinning, kicking water spray out. So a little bit of wheel spin for Boersma here in the Civic and across the stripe for Boersma. And it's a pickup to 2 minutes, .584, but he stays P3. Here comes Smith, and he does not improve.
No, it goes a little bit slower. It does look like they're starting to hunt for that grip now, taking some different lines, a little slide there. We've seen Andrew Brownfield sliding more around in the dry than we have in the wet so far. He's kept that car very stable and under control. Yeah,
and does Justin Peachy improve on his 207? Again, it's going to be critical for him to hang on to third in the title fight. And here he comes out of turn 17. He's going to have one more lap to find something. I think if he finishes third, the map gets a lot harder for Chris Smith. So across the stripe, if he defeats Boersma, and he will not, doesn't improve. So he's only got one lap left to save his season podium. And Chris Smith is looking very good at this stage. And here comes Boersma now. Is he even on it anymore?
Doesn't look like it, does it?
Yeah, pretty hard to tell with the S's now. 90-mile-an-hour corners for the most part in the wet, or in the dry at least, so maybe even slower than that in the wet. Love watching the water kind of show you all the effects of the aero, but here comes Andrew Brownfield. Will he improve on lap 3? Yes, 156.96, and he is provisionally the winner in track mod. See what Smith and Boersma can do. And can Peachy find anything to defend his third on the season?
Yeah, it looks like he is struggling in with these conditions at the moment.
So just the way things are standing, I think Boersma, did he let Smith go?
So, I think so.
Yeah, so Smith goes on by. That means Boersma is looking at a third place, which would be 18 points. It will not be enough for him to do anything about the season podium. Into the last corner here. Andrew Brownfield picked up speed every lap. Smith is going to pit in. So all they have to do is hope that Peachy doesn't pick up. And looks like, sounds like, Boersma's going to pit in as well. Not going to bother with that third lap. And I wonder if Smith is stopping. Again, he did have to pass Boersma there. If you do get impeded, you have the opportunity to ask for a rerun. I don't think that's strictly necessary.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think he got 2 clear laps in. The track is deteriorating. I'm not so sure a rerun's going to be all that helpful to him.
No, and he's already P2, so he's going to get the season podium by 1 point, provided that Peachy doesn't improve. And Peachy, I don't think it looks like he's on a crazy fast lap here either, and he's got his fist out the window. So with that, the track mod class is complete. Andrew Brownfield will pick up the first place trophy. Chris Smith is second, and that second place, is he going to go back out again?
Looks like he's going to get a rerun now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and again, he's owed. I mean, he can't ask for that if he feels like he was impeded, but I don't think it's going to change the fact that he is going to be the third place runner in the championship by 1 point over Justin Peachy. Here's the risk I see with this, and this is probably on the team to communicate to him. If he goes back out and goes off course, his times are deleted, Alex.
Right.
I wouldn't take this risk.
No, I wouldn't either, unless he thinks he does have, you know, a little over 3 seconds in the bag to take first place away. I'm not sure I would take this risk either. I've got a P2 right now. I'm quite a ways back from P1, and that gives me third place in the championship. I'm calling that a day and saying that's a good event for me. However, like you say, by rights, if he was impeded, he does have the right to request a rerun, and if we can give him a rerun, we will.
Yep, and it looks like he's going to get sent in on his way here. So we're not quite done then with track mod, because we've got time for this too. We're not actually in a delay at all. So we've got another few minutes for him to get his extra lap here, and for the unlimited cars to go and still be plenty on time. So Chris Smith is going to go back out. Big risk here, but we don't know what his relative said. If he was up in the green by a couple of seconds or even a couple tenths, you know, I could see the impetus and the desire to want to run this extra lap. I just see this as a really big risk.
Yep.
And again, I know that the team is watching. I know that they'll communicate that to him, that this is a risk, and he's going to decide that it's worth it. Again, ahead by 1 point as things stand, but he'll get one flying lap to upset Andrew Brownfield at the top.
And to find 3 seconds, or a little bit over 3 seconds, 3 seconds and 2 tenths, essentially, or 1 tenth.
So go back all the way to Carolina Motorsports Park at the beginning of the year. He was, I think, the top seed going into that podium sprint and had an off at turn 1. And since then, it sort of felt owed one. So we'll see if he can claw it back here for the Seems Legit Garage guys. I have to say that Seems Legit puts together a really good program with fantastic looking cars, which I think is part of the draw to Gridlife, is not only the fierce competition and the presentation of the sport, but also the presentation of the vehicles and the pride the drivers take in how they look. And I think Seems Legit, especially their fire suits, oh my gosh, they're cool. So we're going to head back down the hill, getting an update from John Raymond that, again, everything will be reviewed post-event here. So all the results from TrackMod will be provisional post this run, but he's going to get his run, and we'll see what happens. Down into turn 17. Got the track all to himself now.
That's always an eerie feeling when you have the track to yourself.
Let's put up the lower third of the previous lap time. So here comes Chris Smith up onto the front straight, throttling up. All eyes on him. If he needed the added pressure, he's got it now. Green flag for one more flying lap for the 212. And we're going to see the previous lap time there is a 6-minute lap, but we're going to leave this up and see what he does next time by. Into turn 1. I don't know if it's gotten better or worse, but I'm leaning on the side if it's worse than it was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I don't think it's got any better. Not any significantly better anyway.
Running down to turn 3 on the brakes. And, oh boy. See him run down the hill here into 5. Looks pretty good. And again, we were pretty surprised at how much grip was available. And if he can just throttle up a little bit more and find some speed, a little bit of a wobble on the brakes there. But it's not giving me the kind of body language that would make me think that it's just a little away from dropping up from underneath him. It looks like, other than the power slide there, it's pretty well composed.
Yeah, it's looking pretty tidy. A little bit of wobble on the brakes. That can get away from you in a hurry. As we see him coming through the start of some of the S's here.
Yep, working his way through the S's. Again, he's giving it everything he's got. And again, not being in the car, not knowing what this track is like in the wet, maybe he's way further from the edge of grip than we thought, and he's got the confidence to keep it on the road, and he's made it through half a lap. I'll be really curious if he does pick up and he does go to the top. Egg on our face. I mean, again, you are owed the opportunity to get 3 clean laps. And if you say, I was impeded, I want this extra lap, by all means, take it. And if you improve, good for you. You've taken everything that's available to you, and you put yourself in position. So down the hill through turn 15 there. I think the moisture is playing with us a little bit now at this stage. But into turn 17, Chris Smith. Watch that curbing. It's really slippery.
Again, looking tidy though. I mean, he hasn't looked like he's been at risk of throwing it off the track at all on this lap.
No, but
very clean, very tidy. Is it faster though?
Yeah, lots of moisture coming out from those wheel wells though. And across the stripe, let's see if Chris Smith can go faster. Needs to be to 156.9, and he will not. A 159. He does pick up time though, so
yep.
You know, credit there. It did go quicker, but not enough. So it didn't change the results, and critically, he didn't go off the racetrack, forcing us to go back and look at the rules about going off in an extra lap. So we didn't have to do that. So it'll stay the same as it was. Let's have a look now at the track mod results here. 156.960. Andrew Brownfield takes the top spot. Alex and Chris Smith in second.